Just a little reminder, this is going to be the last video until Wednesday, maybe even Thursday. Heading up to Indianapolis as soon as I finish uploading this video. I had every intention on talking about Antonio Brown today. But last night, I am reading through some of the comments on my Glenn Consor LeBron James video. And I read some comments made by LeBron James himself. And I thought it was better to go ahead and address this situation again. Apparently, YouTube recommended my video to a couple of SJWs who littered my comment section with typical SJW garbage. He doesn't like LeBron because he's successful. He can't stand to see a black man make it. He lives in a trailer park. I spent several minutes reading through these last night, waiting on one of these assholes to make an actual point, waiting on someone to come at me with some actual substance. Now, of course, it never happened. I didn't expect it to happen. I can generally tell in the comment section when someone who watches me on a regular basis is commenting. And I can tell between the 35-year-old virgin who stumbled across my channel while taking a break from some Dragon Slayer video game. Comments from people who follow me consistently are well written. They're composed. They're based in fact. Even if you disagree with me, sometimes you guys will shine light on something that I didn't think about and even change my mind about something. Comments from the 35-year-old video game nerd or the 22-year-old all evil white men are racist guy, they're all the same. Should I expect anything more from these people? Should I really hold these people to a higher standard? I mean, when you hang on every word from a hypocrite like LeBron James, I suppose I should lower my standards for you. I have come to the defense of LeBron James several times, especially recently, when the media has been attacking him over his stance on the COVID mandates. I don't think LeBron is a bad dude. Matter of fact, I give him a little bit of credit in this Glenn Consor situation. LeBron publicly stated that he did not want to see Glenn Consor be fired. At least, he did that. I don't put LeBron James in the same category as the Keith Olbermanns or the Joy Reids, people who are just pure evil. LeBron is simply uninformed. Keith Olbermann knows what he is doing and saying is wrong, yet he does it anyway. My problem with LeBron is the hypocrisy, and I'm about to show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't expect to sway the opinion of the video game nerds, but I'm going to prove them wrong anyway. I'm going to play a few clips from this press conference. My problem with LeBron here is the same problem I have always had with him, the hypocrisy. When the Washington Post is calling you out, one of the wokest media outlets in the country, when the Washington Post is calling you out, you're in the wrong. The Post called out LeBron for rushing to judgment on Glenn Consor, which is exactly what he did. And it's exactly what he does in any situation involving a white man and a black person. Here's the first clip.
Point four, what he said, no matter if he thought that I was his dad or not, was so insensitive, and the words that he used, that we know the words that he used, I don't even want to repeat it, is not even something that should be ever said. That's four. And last, because you guys know that I calculate everything.
Oh, really? Really? LeBron James calculates everything? You're so smart, LeBron. Oh, wise one. May we all bow at your feet and worship the king. LeBron James does the opposite of calculate. He rushes to judgment. He constantly rushes to judgment. There are too many examples to choose from. Jacob Blake, the cop I mentioned to you guys the other day where LeBron rushed to judgment when the white cop actually saved the life of a black teenage girl. This Glenn Consor situation, another example of LeBron James rushing to judgment. And what the hell is with the fake outrage? The words he said, they're so insensitive. I can't even repeat them. Oh, it's just too much. I'm so offended. Pulling the trigger has been used by sports broadcasters for decades. It's never been offensive until now, the day and age where people are paid to find something to be offended by. This was an honest mistake by a veteran broadcaster, and LeBron James knows it was an honest mistake. But that doesn't fit the narrative. We all know what the narrative is here. Evil white man tried to humiliate a young black man on purpose. That damn white devil. Let's go ahead and get to the next part, where LeBron James is asked about Kevin Porter Sr., the NBA player from the 70s and 80s, not the father of Kevin Porter Jr.
Kevin Porter, the guy who played for the Bullets, that's 71 years old today, in which he would have had Kevin Porter Jr. when he was 50. Is that what we're talking about?
Look, I'll be honest with you. LeBron James is right. It's difficult to imagine a man in his early to mid 50s having a child. I mean, it's not unlikely, it can happen, but in most cases, men are not having children in their 50s. But here's the thing, LeBron had the benefit of hindsight when he was analyzing the situation. Glenn Consor was in the moment. He was on live television calling the game. He didn't have time to analyze it. He didn't have time to think about it. The job of a broadcaster is to call exactly what you're seeing to the home audience. Like I said the other day, when you're on live television 3 hours every night, mistakes are going to happen. LeBron James, he actually addressed this. Listen to his logic.
Let's just say he thought that was the case. So we get scouting reports on players, and I know you guys from the media, y'all get memos and stuff from players and stuff before the game, right? Y'all get like packets and stuff when y'all come to the game and what's going on at the games, right? And I believe that I'm not a play-by-play person, analyst, but I believe that they do their due diligence as well, and they get their reports on teams that they're about to play, as long as their own team, right? So I was actually watching the game live last night when I heard it. And I waited. I didn't do it right away, as you've seen from my tweet. I was watching the game. So if that's the case, if I am a play-by-play announcer, right, and I'm covering a team in my local team, in his case, he's covering the Wizards. So he remembers the Kevin Porter who used to play for the Bullets, correct? The first thing I would have done, I would have said, oh, Kevin Porter Jr. is coming into town. Let me see if that's his son.
Couple of things here. Number one, yes, the media gets reports before games. But do you think familial information is included in these reports? Why in the hell would anyone care about the family of Kevin Porter Jr.? Point guard Kevin Porter Jr. is 6'3", 205 pounds, and his mother used to be a cashier at the Dollar General. If this were someone like James Harden, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, then maybe family information would be more important or included. But seriously, before Wednesday night, and I don't mean to sound harsh, but before Wednesday night, did anyone care to know about the family background of Kevin Porter Jr.? Was it really relevant? And let's talk about due diligence. Due diligence. First, let's address how LeBron James claims that he would have handled it had he been a broadcaster. He would have done his due diligence. If I saw Kevin Porter Jr. was coming to town, I would automatically wonder if his father was Kevin Porter Sr., the NBA player. That's a great point, but that is assuming that thought crossed Glenn Consor's mind prior to Kevin Porter Jr. making that last second shot. Over a 22-year career, this guy has a spotless reputation. Research it for yourself. Try to find any controversy with Glenn Consor. Before this week, most people had never even heard of him. The man deserves the benefit of the doubt, but again, that doesn't fit the narrative. And let's talk about due diligence again. LeBron James claims, if I were a broadcaster, I would do my due diligence. That is such bullshit. This ties directly into you rushing to judgment. Rushing to judgment is the opposite of due diligence. How many times has LeBron James said something and completely missed the mark? You know the quickest way to get LeBron James to shut up about something? Bring up China. You won't hear from him for weeks. What about the time that he shamed Kyle Rittenhouse for crying on the witness stand during his murder trial? LeBron James couldn't relate, He's never had to fight for his life. He's never been wrongly charged with murder. Hell, he's never been given a speeding ticket. What about the numerous times that he has incited violence against cops on Twitter? Is that LeBron doing his due diligence? What about the time after he got blasted for going after that cop in Ohio who saved the life of that black teenage girl? Instead of LeBron taking accountability, he goes on Twitter and blames everyone else. They twist my words to incite hate. No, LeBron James was inciting hate. LeBron James is never held accountable for what he says. It's rules for thee, not for me. He wants to call out Glenn Consor for not doing his due diligence when LeBron James himself doesn't do it. Again, I want to give him credit for one thing, I really do. LeBron James said that he did not want to see Glenn Consor lose his job. I'll give him credit for that. But the rest of what he said in that press conference was just bullshit propaganda. All right, let me know what you guys think about this. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys next week.